Share actually. So I'm going to turn it over to you too.
Mhm. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, let me see if I can share with no issues here. Okay, should be able to see now. Okay, can someone give me thumbs up if you see the slides? Awesome, thank you very much. Okay, so we'll use a few minutes of your time this afternoon to um, share kind of a process that we designed and implemented and are continuously improving at Florida State. And it has to do with leveraging multiple different technologies, including Power BI and some other Microsoft products to make assessment more meaningful and our lives easier. So hopefully we can provide this kind of a overview of kind of how we chose to do things. So the motivation for redesigning how we do assessment came from our very human desire to be lazy, to do less work, but to end up somehow with a robust way to assess, report, use data for improvement process. So we were kind of trying to see if we can leverage technology to free up our faculty who are very busy teaching and doing research and living lives so that they can stop wrangling spreadsheets. And some of them are not fans of Excel. And Excel does not like them either. So kind of have them spend little to no time doing that and more time engaging with data information about student learning that's happening in their courses so that they can get some insights out of it and kind of see like, oh, everyone is bombing, this concept, or people are doing great with this topic. And this means that we're going to do X, Y, and Z to our instruction, to our course, so kind of change the locus of effort, faculty effort from data wrangling and struggling with technology to hopefully just using data to improve our education. So what we did is kind of here are the three kind of, well, this is the slide that encapsulates which technologies we used. So this is kind of a little cheat sheet. So the assessment scores that we ended up using for our data visualization came from our LMS, learning management system. We use Canvas at Florida State. So we encouraged all of our instructors to use course embedded assignments that are already documented in their Canvas gradebooks for assessment of SLOs. Oops. We also got information from our student information system. We use Campus Solutions, and this is where we got information about in your course section that you taught in fall 24, 56 students belong to this major and 12 students belong to this major and 6 students belong to this major. So we are only interested in students who are actually graduating with your credential. Feel free to exclude other students. And we also use information about that connection between here's your student learning outcome at your program level, and here are the assignments that you're using for that, for assessing that SLO, parts of the assignment or rubrics, or so we just kind of got that as well. So everything flowed neatly after a few months of making things fit and putting the pipeline, so to say. Everything it lives in Snowflake, which is a data lake environment. It lives in a cloud. It's not real, but it's so I know there are quite a few other alternatives to Snowflake, which is just a place where data goes to live. So we put everything in Snowflake. There's a lot of kind of transformation and cleanup and merging happening. And then from there, almost clean data set goes into our Power BI data visualizations. And these are the final products that our faculty see. So they see these data reports in Power BI that show levels of student learning in their courses. They don't see the rest of it, right? The rest of it is behind the scenes. So all they see is the data report, the learning analytics data visualization. Okay, so when we were building this learning analytics report, we wanted to give ourselves and our faculty an opportunity to dice and slice by term and by academic year, also by location and modality. Those of you who are in SAC-COC area, you know that and other accreditors also care a lot about location and modality, making sure that students at branch campuses, main campus, and face-to-face and online modalities kind of show comparable levels of learning. So that was another area that we wanted to be able to filter by. And of course, we wanted to kind of know which student learning outcome are we looking at, which courses, which course sections, which assignments are these data coming from. What is the student's degree program? Are they taking this course, but they're actually an engineering major, or chemistry major, or biology major? So this is kind of everything that we wanted to include as an ability to kind of slice and narrow down student populations. So some of our three main descriptors were how many students participated in assessment of a particular SLO in a particular time frame last year. How many assessment scores they generated, because some of our instructors choose more than one assignment to assess that learning outcome. So we wanted to have a way to know how many assignments were used, how many students participated in assessment, and how many assessment scores they contributed. And we wanted everything to be in a visual graph so that you can see kind of this in a quick representation, kind of who is doing at a level of A, so to say, proverbial A grade, 90 to 100% scale, and then who's doing at a B level, which is scores in the 80 to 89 percentile, then 70, 79, 60, 69, and then below 59, which is essentially an F range. So kind of visually can quickly gauge how students are doing on a particular SLO, on a particular course, on a particular set of assignments that instructors chose. And we also wanted to give them a view in the table that kind of provides a breakdown with decimal points and the exact head counts of students who fell into each of the kind of percentile increment. So how many students scored between 95 and 100 percentile? So how many assessment scores are we talking about? So this is kind of this is the table that summarizes all that information. And I think this is the last piece that we build. And this one took a while, right, Caitlyn, to figure out. So there's a lot of kind of DAX code wrangling that needed to happen there. Many of our programs want to know, especially those who do have ABET and some other, someone, I think Catherine mentioned engineering earlier. So you know that ABET does require kind of who is your kind of highly efficient or just efficient or not efficient, and you need to create custom ranges for each of these buckets. So in case of our engineering, we wanted to give them the opportunity to say, okay, folks who are between 80 and 90 percentile are the efficient group, and then the 90 to 100 are the highly efficient group. And then, some other configuration is 70 to 75. So you could enter these values in that bottom kind of to entry slots there where you specify your lower and your upper bound for the mastery level. And then you have cards, then your report tells you you have so many assessment scores in that custom range, and that means that students who meet that threshold is, I don't know, there's 80% of them who do that. So that was kind of the cherry on top for us in terms of kind of knowing quickly was the benchmark met. Most of our programs have at least 80% of students will score 80% or higher on the course embedded assignment. So for many of them, it's just at 80. So they just need to quickly know, did we hit that threshold or not? So that kind of visual allows to do that. Okay. Okay, so this is what the final data report looks like. So that's why you see why we chose not to reveal it all at once, because it's a lot. Instead, I kind of chose to walk you through each piece. Here are the filters, here are the descriptives, here is the graph, here's the table, and here's finally the kind of summary statistics that let you know how many of your students met the threshold or not. But this is the very informationally and data dense view of how the SLO report can look like for a given program. Okay, I think, yeah. So, okay, I did see some questions coming in, so maybe we'll answer them after Caitlyn does a demo. So we wanted to kind of show it in action.
Are you seeing my screen right now with the report? Yes. So we wanted to show you essentially what a faculty member would use this report for, kind of their process of going through. So the first thing that we're going to do is select the terms that we're going to be reporting on. I will note that this data is for a Department of Agriculture that FSU does not have. So it's fictitious data that was generated for this example. And so we're going to select fall, spring, and summer. And I'm going to be reporting on my bachelor's level program. Before I select my bachelor's, you can see there's quite a few outcomes listed here, but that connection piece from our assessment management system, right, is what allows us to filter on the specific outcomes once they've selected a program. So let's look at the research proficiency outcome. And I want to make sure now, before I start kind of digesting the rest of the page, that I'm reporting on only the students that are going to be graduating with the degree that we're looking at. And so I can see for all of the students in the course in which assessment is taking place, what their degree is and specific kind of breakdown of plans. So we're going to select all of agriculture. But this does give them the opportunity for various purposes to exclude those who may be not fully admitted for ABET reporting. Maybe they just want to look at their BS students. And we're going to look at just the students who are located physically in our Tallahassee campus. So we do also in this program, right, have students who can complete it face-to-face in our Panama City, Florida branch campus, which we can see if we were to select this other option. Now, the filters that are not bolded are those that are automatically updated kind of behind the scenes based on that crosswalk that's predefined between what is each outcomes, course it's assessed in, and what is that assignment in Canvas. So I can see that this outcome is assessed in two different courses. In one course, we have a case study that's being used. And there are 187 students who were enrolled in this course who contributed an assessment score with the agriculture program as their degree program. Only one score, one assignment per student. And let's leave the numeric target kind of the same at 80%. So this is telling me here in these two cards that of the 187 assessment scores, so it's the same as students, 162 of them are at least an 80%. And if we were to divide these two values, right, the 86.63% would be the result. The purpose of the table over here and the main benefit that I like is that if you wanted to play around with the values in that slicer for 85%, 90%, and so on, you have to update it each time and kind of remember what the card values were. This table will show you essentially what the card values for the count and the percentage would be if you entered this first number in this kind of bucket. So 95% or above would just include 49 scores, which is 26%, and so on. So you can compare kind of various levels of targets that you may want to set, as well as analyze the distribution of scores itself. So all assessment scores coming from Canvas, which I'll address maybe that question in the chat now as well. There are 4 places in Canvas that we have scores coming from. The gradebook is the most commonly used. Often it is an existing overall scored assignment that they're going to have in their gradebook regardless. Often we do have faculty enter gradebook columns that are storing just a part of a score from an assignment. Maybe they don't want to embed the rubric or the quiz itself, but they're able to make this kind of hidden column that's just for documenting assessment scores. If a quiz or exam is administered via Canvas quizzes, we do have the ability to access question level data. So we do have some faculty who go that route. It's not coming from the gradebook. Outcomes, the tool itself is a way to tag quiz questions, right, and work with rubrics. So that's kind of a third piece. There's also rubrics that just don't have to be associated with outcomes specifically, but have data that we can access behind the scenes. So if a faculty tells us the rubric associated with project 4, criteria 2 and 3, we can access that subdata as well. We do have a few faculty who do not use Canvas. It's not a requirement that they do, though often the programs that opt into this use Canvas, which is why they're interested in it. And so there is kind of an Excel file template that we prepare that has all of the columns that we need of information, and we can send that to them to get information to kind of append to the data set. And we'll quickly show also kind of this next page here. So the multiple terms that we've selected, right, are aggregating data kind of in one view. And similar to how we could update a bunch of values here to kind of see things populate, we could deselect and select just single terms. Or we can go to the trends page, which will essentially show overall, right, across all assignments that may be appearing as separate bars on that prior page, but keeping our same filter selections. What is that distribution of assessment scores by term? So here, right, just kind of looking at it quickly, I can see fall and spring performance seems to be pretty comparable. Summers, maybe a little bit more variation there, might make sense given the more, I guess, the sped up nature of the content, and so on and so forth. Do a little quicker, just one other example. So let's look at one of our master's programs. Here we're going to look at another one where multiple courses are contributing multiple assignments. So again, this is a value of being able to aggregate across different courses and sections and assignments on their behalf. Let's see, we'll look at just our distance online population, and they have a target that's a little higher. So we're going to update that there and see the counts reflected. Does anybody have any questions about the demo that we just went through or the report itself? I know we had a few in the chat. I'm trying to go back and address those.
I'm responding. I think I responded to, and I'm almost done responding to Elizabeth with her question. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. Okay. Elisa, would you be willing to share the Excel file template you use to collect data from faculty if they don't use Canvas? Is it on our, I think it's on our website,
Yeah.
right? For Gen Ed.
I will
The
send
Gen
it
Ed.
to you in the chat.
Sure.
We use a similar process for general education assessment, and so this template is specific to that one. Um, this report that we're looking at is also publicly available. So if you wanted to play around with it and navigate it, I can also drop that link in the chat.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I'll just answer directly a question. Yes, you're right. Just having the data report available does not lead to analysis and improvement automatically. So that's why we always tell our academic partners that this report is just the first step in their process. And many of our educational programs have, with or without our help, come up with the second part of it, which is sitting down with faculty or engaging them via email or somehow in other ways, where they sit down and they say, okay, let's start talking about this. What's happening? Where are students learning well, not so well? Why? And if this is something that within our control to correct, let's come up with things that we need to change. So this data report is a way for them to have it's like a straw man, right? It's a way for them to kickstart the process, and it's in the beginning of the engagement. It's a reason to sit down and start talking about this, as opposed to being stuck in the endless, again, spreadsheet wrangling efforts. So what they have now is the data report. So they start with the data report. And it gets easier then to get to the next stage, which is the analysis and using the insights from their discussion to make some decisions about changes.
I was looking to see if one of these question mark icons answered the next question in the chat, but it may not. So all assessment scores are standardized to that 0 to 100% scale based on the point values in Canvas. And then we're kind of displaying and averaging across that. We also look to make sure that any scores that magically are below 0%, right, replaced with a 0%, or extra credit above 100% is capped at that 100% as well. What is the time lapse? So typically we collect information from the departments, programs, faculty about what we should expect to see in Canvas the beginning of the semester. And then after grades are due at the end of a semester is when we'll pull the official kind of snapshot of what's in Canvas that'll populate this report. So just once a term, essentially, after grades have been due.
Most of our faculty are 9 months faculty. So when they get a chance to engage with these data when they come back on their contract in August. So we work essentially over the summer to make sure that these are ready and clean, because most of our leads from academic units are on 12 months contracts, chairs, associate deans, program directors, but our instructors are on 9 months. So by the time they get back in August, these are typically ready for our faculty to work with. And most of our academic programs choose those few weeks before the academic year begins to have their assessment retreats, to have their faculty meetings, to have their kind of to do their assessment formally, so to say. So that's kind of timely. I know we have like about 3 minutes left, so I wanted to announce that, and we discussed this with Stephanie, that what you see right now, Caitlyn and I we deliver a workshop at SARE, at Assessment Institute, on how to build this learning analytics report. And we will be happy to donate our 3 hours of our time to do a rerun of this workshop that we do. Joanna, you're very happy to do a rerun of this workshop that we already have done at multiple other conferences. So for this community of practice. So what Caitlyn is going to do, I think, and Stephanie, thank you for your generous offer to send this out to a bigger group on the listserv that has, several hundred people, more people that could make it today, so that, of course, so that You can fill out, indicate your interest, and then also let us know which of the three time options that we are proposing to hold this workshop works for you. The time option that gets most votes is the one that we're going to go with. So, so feel free to, send it out, fill this out yourself, forward it to folks in your units if they also would like to attend this workshop. But again, Stephanie, as I mentioned, will reach out. You're most welcome, Gloria. We'll reach out to the bigger group and kind of offer this as well. Mhm.
Yeah, so I know there are a lot of questions, and I think I thought that was a wonderful and generous offer to do this workshop again for free for the community of practice members. Um, I am definitely going to try to be there as well because I would love to learn how you did all of this. So yeah, we'll send that out. Do you want to send that to the listserv, or do you want me to do that?
Um, how about we touch base about this after the meeting
Yeah.
today? So I guess we can figure out the best way to do it. I'm not even sure if I know how to send a message to the
Okay.
entire listserv at
It's
the
pretty
moment.
straightforward, but yeah, I'm
Okay.
happy to do it for you as well.